I had a conversation yesterday. It was with one of my audience members. We were going back and forth and talking about Gotham Knights. I think that game by itself is, an entire thesis because it's a game that a lot of people didn't like. And some of you from my last video, you saw that I've actually put in almost 600 hours in the game in 2 years. Now, why would I play a game like this? And why would a lot of people be at odds with some of the design elements in the game? And in this case of this audience member, they said that the developers locking your traversal ability behind you doing some activities was bad game design. Now, maybe I can see where there's some frustration in there, but for anybody to say that that's bad game design, I disagree. And I disagreed because I was like, simple reason is this specific kind of game design of you grinding a power level up to attain something that you probably think you're entitled to is one that's been heralded and, in a sense, engaged with a lot of video games. There are video games like Diablo, Path of Exile, The Division 1 and 2, Destiny 1 and 2, where you actually have to grind out content. Can the grind in terms of content get heavy handed? Yes, this is a reality. However, for anyone to say that you doing a few activities that are about 30 to 45 minutes in an RPG to be able to get a specific ability, that being bad game design, to me, I think that maybe there was some kind of wires crossed in the sense that somebody must have come into a video game, a superhero video game, and the way superhero video games have been made lately, or, in the sense of tradition, is that you're basically kind of already overpowered coming into the equation. There really isn't much for you to have to do because, you're coming in and you're already Spider-Man. You're already the guy. You can already do so much, and the game wants you to feel strong and powerful. So, sure, you can do some extra cool stuff, but you can beat a lot of these games without upgrading stuff on the skill trees. This is just the reality with a lot of these video games that are out here. And even some RPGs, you can still do a lot, but again, you have to have a high level of skill to be able to do that. Like, there's some YouTubers who will beat bosses in Elden Ring with level 1 characters, but they'll go get some augments that they've already had to grind for. Again, it's like, okay, you can beat it with a level 1 character, sure, but you have to grind for this item so that you could give it to your level 1 character, so your level 1 character can be literally, well fortified to be able to beat these bosses. So even with a level 1 character in those games, there is still a certain level of, work that has to be put in to attain those things. In today's video, what I want to do is I want to show you guys some examples. And this is Division 2. I've put about almost 1,000 hours on here on PC. On PlayStation, I think the rest is made up. I think over almost 200 hours. And this is a very grindy game. But there are some elements to the game that require for you to basically make your way through in terms of being able to attain those power levels. So I'm going to show you some skill trees. There are many skill trees in this game. Some of them you have to actually travel to your base of operations to open them up. There are also skill trees in games like Path of Exile that filters out a lot of gamers. So we're in the base of operations, and here we have what's called our specializations. These are weapon classes that have attached to them skill trees that allow for you to be effective in, say, your solo play and in group play. And for you to be able to do this and get these items, these so-called specializations, tree unlocked, you have to do certain activities while using the specialization to get what's called specialization points to then go ahead and be able to use these abilities. Now, what's crazy is when you actually don this item itself, the abilities, none of them are granted to you. Like you're starting from zero. And the amount of gameplay that you have to loop around to accomplish this is a significant amount. And not only is there one or two, actually 6 of them. And each one of them has got all of these that require for you to go ahead and do the work. I got to tell you, it's probably one of the most annoying grinds out there that you would see. But ladies and gentlemen, again, no one is saying that Gotham Knights should have done this, but Gotham Knights did have some elements of this. And this is why I think that the game, for the most part, filtered out a lot of people who wanted to play it. Because once they saw gear and they saw that, hey man, I'm going to have to actually go find gear that has different, intricate abilities and different aspects to it. many of them were already turned off. Because in another superhero game that I just showed you guys, like Spider-Man, you don't have to do that. Whereas in Gotham Knights, the developers were making a light RPG that actually did require for their own gamers to engage in that kind of gameplay. And even within a game like Tom Clancy's The Division 1, I can show you over and over stacks and stacks of aspects of the game that you actually have to go ahead and engage in terms of, doing contents to make stronger. These are this is what's called your skills. That's what it's called. But actually, these are proxy devices that you have to basically go ahead and look for items that unlocks the different variations of them when you're playing. And without unlocking those variations, you can't use them within the game. And even within these, there are different, aspects to them that you have to basically go ahead and get your hands on. Now, here's the crazy thing about this. These, little things here have augments that can boost them within your specialization tree based on your specialization. So in order for you to get strong in an RPG, you gotta work. And I think our whole conversation about Gotham Knights was simply that. Gamers didn't want to work. They didn't want to do much in terms of that because in reality, we're spoiled. Arkham spoiled us, and I'm an Arkham fan, massive Arkham fan. And I can tell you that that game really did spoil us because we just want to come out here and we just want to basically be the strongest, baddest, greatest superhero because that's exactly how Rocksteady designed it. They designed you with Batman being already strong in mind, which honestly, in a lore perspective, there's nothing wrong with that. And so the mismatch for Gotham Knights was simply that. It was trying to appeal to an audience that was already used to the superhero being this already overpowered thing. I wish that they had made Gotham Knights like a Ninja Turtles game. Because if they had done that, I think it would have really softened the blow that a lot of people received because there haven't really been too many. I wouldn't say Ninja Turtles in terms of the video games have not necessarily shaped anything. The Arkham games shaped the entirety of, superhero video games. So the expectations are that you make your game somewhat Arkham-y or Spider-Man-y. So when you actually try to maybe make a game that has that representation, right? And at the end of the day, the game does not really follow exactly that, but has its own little thing, then it's kind of weird for a lot of gamers. Another really interesting thing too, in terms of the mission structure, is the mission loop structure. When you reach endgame in Gotham Knights, the game doesn't end. The game continues to reset the night because the game is designed around the night. The Division also has something somewhat similar. Its game is also designed around the world in terms of a living world system where the game doesn't really end because it continues to pretty much go on and enemies continue to respawn around the map and you can reset the map in that regard to basically do the exact same thing to possibly get your character to a place where your character is stronger. So here you can craft, you can get some items going. These kinds of mechanics really did throw a lot. I saw reviewers get filtered out. In fact, I saw some reviewers that enjoyed games like The Division bash Gotham Knights. SkillUp was one of them. SkillUp started out his YouTube deal and grew big as a Division player, but he had one of the harshest criticisms for Gotham Knights. That's why when he made some mistakes in his Gotham Knights review, I did not hold back from calling his name. I almost never want to call anybody's names, but SkillUp shocked me. He was one of the reasons I became a YouTuber, making content on The Division. So looking at gear aspects and looking at gear attributes and people saying, well, I don't want to deal with all this, then the game is not geared towards you. The game has filtered you out. Some people see that as an insult. They see that as a bad thing, but it's just the reality. There are many other games that you can go play. But for people to say that Gotham Knights is poorly designed because of these things that we've seen in many other video games is absolutely wild and insane to me. Because these systems and these mechanics, seeing them in other video games, and then looking at people look at Gotham Knights and say Gotham Knights is trash because I can't wrap my mind around it. And the premise I cannot agree with. Let me show you what I mean. You come back into the Belfry in Gotham Knights, it resets the night, and then when you exit the Belfry and go back out, it resets your previous your progress. No, it takes you into the new night, which reloads new activities that some of them are randomly spawned, and everything overall is randomly generated. That's how it does it in the world system, because it's a crime fighting game. It's like you're a comic book hero in a comic book game. Isn't that crazy? And so the map is now filled with crime activities that are going on, and they're of different calibers, different difficulties, and you know what? Now you can go ahead and engage in. I'll open the division for you and I'll show you the exact same thing. In the case of the division, let's go ahead and log in. This is going to take a little longer to get in. This is a fully online game, by the way, the division itself. Whereas in terms of Gotham Knights is an offline / co-op game. That's another crazy thing. Division's a live service game, but it does have a story loop. Don't get me wrong. It's about 20 hours of story that you have to play through in terms of missions to unlock the entire map. In the Division, you can literally go ahead and reset the entire control point system in the open world. You see it here, it says reset control points. You can change the directives, you can change the world difficulty as well. You can increase it to be able to get more XP, or to be able to have a higher chance of getting better gear. And you can add what's called, directives, which reduce or handicaps you in a specific way, and maybe in some cases empowers the enemy NPCs so that you can get more XP and get more points. And you can literally manually do that in the game. So go do the exact same things over and over and over and over again. And there are many of us who enjoy it. In fact, some people right now may be playing something like Countdown. Let me show you how crazy it is at the end of the day, when you think about Countdown is just so weird, because when you start matchmaking for Countdown, even though everybody may have dumped the division at the end of the day, there are people that are still going to be playing Countdown. And maybe on PC, there might not be a lot of people. On PlayStation, if I match, oh, look, I already found a match. And I can just go ahead and accept it. And I can jump into a game of Countdown. There are two people that are, queuing up. But on PlayStation, Countdown fills up very fast, even when no one is playing the game. And we're going to go basically do the exact same thing over and over and over again. That's just the way a lot of these games are. And I think the developers that made Gotham Knights, they were gunning for something like this, but their execution was not necessarily the most pristine. A lot of different issues stemmed from that when your product is misaligned to the audience that you're actually marketing it towards. So again, I think they literally copied the Division for the most part. And so there's a foreign game concept to a lot of people, especially the superhero games audience. So someone like me, that's why you see me, I've blown hundreds of hours on the game. Now, even some Division players who played this game, they were like, I still didn't get it. And I'm like, you didn't get it? They're like, no, I played it, I enjoyed it, but I'm not going to play it long term. And I'm like, I see. Well, why? Because the developers never intended or did not get to the point where they were going to make it as robust as, say, a game like The Division, which, Warner Bros. Montreal, for them to support a game like this, they would have needed like 2 extra studios helping them. The Division is made by like 4 studios, very well experienced, all of them in that regard. So again, this is, let me cook a little bit. Hey, dodge. Another thing too is the combat. That combat did filter so many people, bro. Oh my gosh, people were like, "Oh, it's not like Arkham. It's not free flow." Well, I'm free flowing here, but you gotta know how to play. You gotta know how to play. You gotta be able to connect. Yeah. Oh, he got me out of that. I was gonna hit him with that. I thought they were dead, but you gotta know how to play, man. This game works very well, but you must master it. No mastery, filtered out. And the developers didn't tell you. They literally made a very skill-intensive game and sent it to an audience that usually prefers a less skill-intensive game. It's just what it is. Now, the only reason I mastered this game is because I'm a Batman fan. That's about it. Right? That was the only thing that made me go, oh, I want to play this game. I want to master it. Take that, all of you. Oh, that hit me too. Wow. Be careful. You might, playing with fire might burn. Let me stay away from their line of sight. Yeah. See that? That's what you do with the space involved there. You use the animations to fight your enemy NPCs. You see that? Deflected a bullet and hit somebody at the same. Did you see me deflect that bullet? You didn't see it. That's how fast Robin is. He can deflect bullets. Did you know that? Did you know that? How many games can you as a superhero deflect a bullet? Even Batman does not deflect bullets. Oh, here we go. I got some ninjas coming my way. They were hiding. Hey. Hey, I have another one hiding. They're gonna appear out of nowhere. Hey, 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 Oh, look at that. Look at that. All right. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. It is what it is. If you don't like Gotham Knights, I get it. I'm not forcing anybody to like it, but there are games that appeal to a certain, player archetype. And, we're all different. We have different tastes, different folks, different strokes for different folks. Peace out.